Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So yes, I'm back with some more breaking news about the Sussexes. This story actually dropped yesterday, and it's something that hasn't really been picked up on a lot of the blogs and the IG pages that I follow regarding this Harkle Sparkle debacle. A major breaking update has happened with the Sussexes, which involves them actually demanding that the royal family around May next year have a sit down discussion with them. And quite clearly, you can see that the car crash has already ensued. Now, a lot has come out, a lot of analysis has been done of their latest outburst on their 6 hour long Netflix series, which should have never happened. And this is the thing with the Sussexes. They act and then they think afterwards. So they speak before they actually have thought through the impact of their actions. And Meghan Markle did actually prove this quite a few times during the podcast. She tried to explain away many different reasons as to why she'd done the things that she'd done over 2 years ago now in order to make herself look good, but she just doesn't look good. So they have come to a point whereby they are now rewriting their narrative yet again, and they are demanding that King Charles, Camilla, and the Prince and Princess of Wales sit down with them next year in May time, and they rethink and re-strategize and support them in possibly integrating them back into the royal firm. I kind of always saw this happening because from what I can see from the Sussexes podcast, or at least their Netflix series and Meghan Markle's podcast, they can't really do anything successfully without the royal firm. So Meghan Markle had that book called The Bench that she launched. And I don't know if a lot of people have picked up on this, but she didn't really address it or talk about it. They also didn't address their disastrous Finding Freebies book that, of course, did not do well. It ended up in quite a few clearance sections in a lot of major stores for about 99 pence or something like that. The Bench also had similar results. Everything that she does outside of the royal firm, along with Harry, doesn't do well. Now, of course, their latest exploit to get as much money as they possibly can is going to be within Harry's book titled The Spare. They've created a book which, of course, is going to follow another narrative of the way in which Harry was mistreated in the royal firm and he wasn't seen as an equal and all the rest of it. And he had a much harder time with the passing of his late mother, Princess Diana, than William ever could have had. So Harry is always the perpetual victim in any story that he likes to portray because he wants to demonize and vilify the royal firm as much as he can. Now, the working royals have been living their best lives. They're not concerned about the Sussexes. And I am actually subscribed to the Times, so I always pick up on some of their articles, especially the ones regarding the royal firm. So apparently are demanding a royal summit and they're demanding an apology. This article is fairly long, so I'm going to skim read quite a lot of it, but I just want you guys to get the general gist. It is like living through a soap opera where everyone else views you as entertainment, the Duke of Sussex said about life in the royal firm during 6 hours of prime-time Kardashian-style Netflix access into Harry and Meghan's world of truth. And the article is titled Harry and Meghan Want a Royal Summit and an Apology. The Sussexes are pushing for the family to make the first peace offering and recognise that they indeed were wronged. It is now clear that theirs is a soap opera the royal family want no part in. Last year, in the aftermath of the couple's interview with Oprah Winfrey, or soap opera as the palace dubbed it, Queen Elizabeth issued her masterstroke statement that some recollections may vary. When the royal family stood accused of racism and callous disregard for the couple's mental health, this time the silence from Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace is deafening. The royal family's actions speak for themselves. The king danced the afternoon away on Friday at a Jewish community centre in North London. That would have been exactly on, today's the 18th, I'm recording it on a Sunday. So that would have been on the 16th of December. On Thursday, hours after the Sussexes' second round of hand grenades, the Windsor clan was out in force at Westminster Abbey for the Princess of Wales carol service, dedicated to the values and legacy of the late Queen. Prince William read an extract from their grandmother's 2012 Christmas message on the spirit of togetherness, which is quite ironic, and need he say more? Meghan and Harry, of course, with everything that they do, have isolated themselves further and further away from the royal clan, which is one of the strongest, I would say, sectors of their family entirely. I'm sure we all saw the deafening, echoing emptiness of that Sussex palace out in Montecito, Santa Barbara, with just Doria, Meghan, and Harry running around with a couple of eggs for one kid, baby Archie, at the time when Meghan was allegedly pregnant with Lily. Even Doria has severed ties with her black family. She's severed ties with her African American identity altogether. I thought that it was quite embarrassing, and it wasn't something that I really had time to touch on because we have Christmas, the Christmas rush, a lot's going on right now. Even in my personal life, I've been trying to do everything really early so that I can get this stuff out there to you guys, because I know that I can be a bit hit and miss with this channel. But what I really want to say is that Doria, in fact, made everything worse with what she said. She said that she didn't feel as though she needed to have the conversation with her daughter about race, colour, identity, what it is to be a minority and a person of colour in the Western society, which really screamed out to me. I mean, a lot of people, especially people of colour, black and brown people like myself and black British, have run into these types of blacks, have run into these types of people who essentially have disregarded their own ethnicity, especially when they are in interracial relationships. Now, I'm not judging it, it's a personal preference, but I think that no matter what type of romantic relationships you're engaging in, whether you're in an interracial relationship, whatever, blah, 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 I'm not judging. I think as a person of color, it's always important, especially when there are children involved, to have the conversation, because the reality of it is that a lot of people, even in my personal circle, will say, well, I don't see color, I don't judge people by their color. A lot of black people, Caribbean people, African people, West Indian people across the diaspora do essentially function in on a set of rules that simply just don't really exist, because unfortunately the world sees color and the world will treat you according to how you are perceived. And that's just something that you just simply have to have a conversation about. And if you're not having that conversation about it, then quite clearly you are refusing to A, prepare yourself and your children for the reality of the world at large, which means that you are going to effectively have children who struggle with their identity. And it just makes it a lot harder, and it's hard enough being human as it is without that identity crisis going on in the background on top of it. So Doria really didn't prepare Meghan Markle for the world at large. Now, I've gone off completely on a tangent because, as I said, there's so many issues and so many things that I want to address that I haven't had time to really address on the channel. But getting back to the main topic, everything that they've said has fallen on deaf ears, and I think that's one of the most classiest things that the royals can do. The more they talk, the more they dig a deeper hole for themselves. So the article carries on to say, but Harry and Meghan do want more. It can be revealed today that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex want to sit down with the royal family for a meeting to address their issues after their damning 6-hour Netflix series, which involved relentless criticism of the monarchy at large. The couple feel the royal family has shown double standards by instigating a reconciliation meeting between Ngozi Fulani, the charity boss, and Lady Susan Hussey, a former lady-in-waiting to Queen Elizabeth. The latter made unacceptable and deeply regrettable comments about Fulani's heritage last month, and Hussey offered her sincere apologies at last week's meetings. A source close to the Sussexes said nothing like that was ever done when Harry and Meghan raised various concerns. No meeting, no formal apology, or taking responsibility for accountability. That is hard to swallow. 100% says they'd like to have a meeting. I'm going to leave it there because I always do. And I don't like my videos to run over because a lot of people, they just don't have the time. But what I really want to say is that you can see that their cup always is half empty and it's never full. It's not enough to have the Netflix series bashing the firm. It's not enough for Meghan to have her podcast essentially taking shots at the firm. It wasn't enough for them to do the Oprah Winfrey interview, which was very insensitive when our late Prince Philip was in hospital in intensive care. They didn't even acknowledge the impact that that Oprah Winfrey interview could have had upon Prince Philip. Now, we know he was extremely old, but still, there's no acknowledgement. It's a one-sided line of communication with the Sussexes, and they just want to constantly complain, and they want all of the attention and center stage to be placed upon them. And you can still see that nothing is ever going to be enough. I'm going to stop there because there's a lot going on, but what I probably will do is come back with a part 2 to this because there's a lot more that still needs to be uncovered. So I'll be back with another video. Bye, guys.